Rev up your engines!
Mechanic. Scotty, I'm looking at a 98 Toyota Avalon with 127,000 miles for $1,000. It's been taken care of. Seems like an okay deal to me. Just realize, a 22-year-old vehicle. It's old as the hills, but it's only got 127,000 miles on it. The Avalons had, of that particular year, had two problems. One, their power steering rack leaks, so check that. And the other is sometimes the cams had problems. Have a mechanic check that. If they're okay, go ahead and buy it. I mean, $1,000 is nothing for a car, and those are well-built cars. You do want to check the power steering rack, because if it needs a power steering rack, there goes like 2.5 times what you paid for the car if you want to put a new one on. And the rebuilt ones, they're kind of iffy. So check that out. But they can be a good knock-around cars for driving around. I just wouldn't buy a car like that for an everyday driver. You got a $1,000 car, you can't trust to put 20, 30,000 miles a year on it. Nobody special. Can you do a review on a 90s Toyota MR2, please? Thinking of getting a late 90s turbo model. If you want it as a weekend toy and you want to learn about taking things apart, putting them together, go right ahead. You're going to drive it every once in a while. You're not going to pay that much for it. Hey, go right ahead. Have fun. Just realize that was kind of one of the failures that Toyota made. Last time I worked on one, I was road testing on the highway. I felt like I was in a coffin with my legs sitting inside. It was an old 90s one. I didn't feel safe at all in that car. I got to say, I like Toyotas, but if you want a toy and you like them, play around with it. But let's say you're not mechanically inclined at all. Don't buy it. Because you're going to have to be piddling around with that thing. Jason P. says, I got a Honda Accord 2009. My local dealer uses Honda full synthetic 020, but on the campus says to use 520. Use 520. I don't know what they're thinking. The company that designed that stuff, obviously, they're getting a deal on the 020, and they don't want to have to search around for 520, and they're just saving money. They're not doing it right. You stick the factory oil on those things. Hondas have problems enough with their variable valve timing system that you should not be messing around with the weight of the oil in the car. It's made for 520. Put 520 in it. Last bridge, Scotty. My car's acting weird. If I start it, the auto rises and quickly goes down and up and down. And then when it warms up, it goes okay. A lot of times, idling going up and down is a vacuum leak. But if once the car warms up at idle, it doesn't do it anymore. It can't be a vacuum leak because it would still be sucking air and have a leak. That, more often, is something in the fuel injection system. When you start the car cold, the computer sprays extra gas through the fuel injectors. And if it only does it when it's cold, odds are it's giving too much gas to the fuel injectors, which will make it go up and down and up and down. Have the MAV sensor clean, because that tells the computer how much gas to give the fuel injectors. And have the fuel injectors pressure clean, because that could be the problem. Because once the car warms up, if it runs totally normal, it's got to be something in the injection system, because if it's an air leak or something, it's still going to leak when it's warmed up. You got to be logical when you fix cars. Sometimes they don't seem logical, but there's always some logic behind it. 770, I'm replacing the radiator on my 03 Chevy Express 3500, and I cracked one of the fan blades. Can I try to glue it back on? Well, the answer is no. Don't even try. Those things spin like mad. And don't try to run it that way. It'll be unbalanced. It'll wobble. It'll ruin a new water pump. It'll make all kinds of shaking and vibration. They're just plastic fans. You can find an aftermarket one or go to a junkyard and buy a used one. Do not try to glue it back on. Those things have to be balanced just right. And like I say, you can get aftermarket ones. They don't cost that much. Or go to a junkyard and buy a used one. They got tons of them lying around in junkyards. Ram non-wizard. Scotty, I got a 2013 Ram 2500. The traction control light is on and won't let the cruise control work. When your traction control system breaks down, it'll shut the cruise control system off. That's a software deal. They're made that way. You have to find what the problem is. That is not a system you can fix yourself. You need to have a dealer level scan tool just like I have. Even if you have like a $250 scan tool, it might give you the codes for the traction control system, but it won't allow you to do bi-directional testing. When I test those, let's say it says that there's a problem with a wheel sensor. So then I can go in and I can turn it on, turn it off, drive it, watch the data roll in to see if it's actually working or if it's a wiring problem. It's complicated stuff. If you want that system fixed, you're basically going to have to pay a mechanic. It's not something you can fix yourself unless you're willing to go out and buy a $5,000 up scan tool and learn how to operate the thing. But, you know, it goes back to just a normal system, and it disables your traction control system and cruise control. So if you really want it fixed, at least try to find an honest guy like me to tell you what's wrong, what it might cost to fix it before you go any further. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.